let's be honest, cats are creepy a lot of the time. The things they do are based on senses we don't always understand. Some people say that they can even sense paranormal spirits and other unknown entities. We've collected an assortment of 5 creepy times cats were seeing things their owners couldn't for your viewing pleasure. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Bedroom spirits. One place you definitely don't want to be surprised by anything is in your bedroom. If you think your house is inhabited by a poltergeist, then it might be worth bringing your cat in to take a closer look. That's exactly what this woman did, it seems, and her kitten doesn't seem to know what to make of it, although it definitely is at least a touch disturbed by whatever it's looking at. While this cat owner doesn't seem too worried about unseen spirits lurking around their personal space, their cat is definitely intrigued and remains so for quite some time. It seems to see something odd floating around the room and darting from one spot to the other, making it actually leap out of the way in alarm. We even get a few moments of watching the cat really freak out and look borderline possessed with some really interesting contortions. It's hard to deny that it looks like some massive shivers went all up and down its spine. Even though cats do some awkward stuff, this goes on for quite a while. We're looking at a clean room here, so there's probably not much dust or any insects flitting around, which makes the options for what it's actually looking at pretty slim. We don't know about you, but we'd be pretty happy shifting out of that room, but if the woman with the camera isn't worried, then it could be that she's come to terms with her roommate. If there is a spirit in the room, it could be non-malicious, which would explain a lot. The more you watch, the more you realize that this active kitten is actively following something. We know that cats have a different way of looking at the world and can see wavelengths that are all but invisible to humans. From what is generally accepted about spirits, they can be tracked and sensed using equipment that is very similar to what cats use to navigate the world around them. Their heightened senses also allow them to detect changes in their environment much more readily than their human companions, especially when it comes to temperature, humidity, and air pressure. Furthermore, they can smell danger coming from a long way off. Not much is known about ghosts, or if they actually exist, with much proclaimed evidence being debunked rather easily. Even sure signs of paranormal activity still haven't led to anything really tangible, so it goes without saying that there's a lot of progress to be made on that front. Could be that our cats have already evolved to sense the paranormal and are much more capable than we are on this front. If this little guy could talk, we bet he'd have a lot to tell us about, including, we're sure, a creepy account of what he saw that day. Number 4. Tsunami warning signs. One of the remarkable things that cats and many other animals share is that they seem to be able to predict impending disasters, and amazingly, act appropriately in order to remain safe even when all hell is breaking loose. Humans have known about this for a very long time, with cats becoming domesticated long before they were revered as gods by the ancient Egyptians. This trend has fallen out of fashion today, with humans thinking they have the upper hand when disaster strikes. This, however, very obviously isn't the case. Videos taken by countless people caught in the middle of tsunamis, for example, show cats fleeing for higher ground, with one cat in Japan taking off and returning completely unharmed long after its owners had expected the worst. We're not talking about just a couple of days here either. This cat came back 3 months after going missing. It disappeared a little before the waves hit, finding shelter with another family further inland before being reunited with its original family like nothing had ever happened. Statistics and cleanup crews have proven time and time again that animals overwhelmingly remain uninjured, with very few bodies of animals being recovered after the waves recede, especially compared to the amount of people who are overcome and end up succumbing to the relentless onslaught of water. Many scientists presented with this evidence were dumbfounded and are still at a loss as to how to properly explain what's going on in these situations. And it's not just limited to tsunamis either. Fires, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions have all been categorically predicted by animals who, unless caught in extreme circumstances, are able to escape long before people are even aware of any warning signs. Many respected researchers have even gone as far as to claim that cats have a type of ESP that enables them to foreshadow cataclysmic events, much like the Mothman of legend. While this is probably a little extreme, it's absolutely clear that something different is happening in cats' physiology and brain activity that puts their skills of premonition far above ours. The general consensus in the scientific community is that they do in fact sense atmospheric changes, as well as using their keen senses of smell and hearing to detect anomalies and occurrences much further away than mere humans can. Paying attention to cats and the strange things they appear to see could give us some real insights into cognition and maybe even the world of the paranormal. Number 3. Ghosts in the living room. We originally suspected that there was some kind of laser pointer trick happening here, but we tried as hard as we could to find something off and simply couldn't, other than the creepy cat, of course. This inquisitive cat is intent on figuring out what the hell it's looking at, taking a long time to follow something that its owner just can't see. It takes numerous laps around the living room and adjusts from looking up and down on a regular basis, giving us the impression of a spirit bouncing around the room, having a great time confusing its target. Granted, that's probably not the case, but it certainly would fit the bill. After learning that cats have a sixth sense when it comes to these things, we've decided that it's best just to run with these things and assume that they know what they're doing. What makes this particular video odd is that the cat's actually pretty mobile, with most antics like this happening on a bit of a smaller scale. Cats are also usually more repetitive in their motions than this one, who really seems to be actively searching something sneaky. Looking behind curtains and on top of tables, it keeps going. It also doesn't seem to want to swat or play with whatever it's looking at, even though it's full of energy, like it knows better than to mess around too much. Whatever the reason, it's a little unnerving to watch. Number 2. Something on the ceiling. Another curious cat, the one in this clip is very vocal about whatever it's looking at. Given the camera angles, this one's more likely to involve a hidden laser pointer, but we don't know for sure and thought we'd leave it up for you to decide. Again, nobody seems worried, but the cat is certainly puzzled by something that it just can't work its head around. It's a little unfortunate that the other cat, seen hanging around the bottom of the bed once or twice, doesn't seem to be engaging with whatever it is in the room with them, but perhaps some cats, like people, are more in tune with these senses than others. They definitely have wildly different personalities, with some breeds even being bred for their keen intuition and ability to foresee danger. It's been claimed that some ancient civilizations even kept cats as guards to warn rulers and other nobles of anything that might be amiss. It'd be fantastic if we were able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that cats are able to not just sense danger, but also see through to dimensions that we can't, or, as is more likely the case, see spirits and visions that are undetectable to humans. We've barely begun to unlock the secrets of the brain, and the knowledge we currently hold with regard to the inner workings of our brains and our ways of seeing the world are incredibly basic. We're hoping that one day these questions about cats engaging with the paranormal can be answered sufficiently, but for now we'll just assume that they do, if only for safety's sake. Number 1. Nursing home premonitions. Our final creepy cat is relatively very well known and has impressed a lot of people from all over the world with its ability to predict the deaths of patients before they happen. For that, he really deserves the number 1 spot on today's list. This isn't any animal and it's not a gimmick. This cat is 100% an ace at predicting when people are gonna die with an almost 100% success rate. Staff at the Steer House in Rhode Island said they were amazed when they realized the trend. They stated that the tabby in question was notoriously antisocial, generally disliking all people, which isn't all that impressive in itself as cats are known to be, well, grumpy. What is truly amazing, putting this cat in a class of its own, is that Oscar only got close and cozy with patients who were well into their final days of life, with every single one dying only days after Oscar introduced himself. This, coupled with the fact that Oscar actually proved the rest of the staff wrong on a number of occasions, made the resident cat better at diagnosing the patients than actual nurses and doctors. His talent was discovered in 2007, and he's been proven to have predicted over 100 deaths accurately within a few short days between then and 2013. Oscar himself then had a medical scare and actually died for a short time after suffering an allergic reaction. Thankfully, he wasn't down long before he was resuscitated by vets and given a literal shot at life after death. We like to think that he probably touched base with his friends in the afterlife to make sure they were doing okay. Once he recovered, even after his very own brush with death, Oscar was able to begin comforting patients at the end of their lives once again, which once again makes this particular cat a real-life, modern-day miracle worker. Instead of scaring the hell out of the people he curled up with, Oscar seems to have been able to provide comfort to those he befriended and help them come to terms with their deaths. Their families also loved having the cat stay around and say that it was a very special phenomenon that helped them move forward. Doctors who spent time studying Oscar say that he probably was focusing on a specific pheromone or other scent that allowed him to literally smell death coming. Even though it is a touch morbid, the fact that cats are able to sense things that modern medicine can't is a clear indication that they're very much able to see things that we can't. If the New England Journal of Medicine is ready to declare Oscar's sixth sense a legitimate discovery, then we think it's an absolute win and something we should be looking into going forward. Hope you enjoyed the video, folks. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button before you head out if you're new. That's all you have to do. Come on, just click it. I know you want to.